Well, the way I became a spiritual teacher is I first had a spontaneous spiritual revelation when I was 16 years old. And why this was interesting is because I was brought up in a secular Jewish household in New York, so the word God didn't mean anything to me. But when I was 16, I was sitting up late one night having a conversation with my mother. We were living in Rome, Italy at the time. And for some reason that I can't describe, I don't know why it happened, because what happened had nothing to do with what we were speaking about. The doors of perception suddenly opened. And it's difficult to describe this in words, but what happened was I suddenly became aware of the whole universe. And I realized that the whole universe was one living being that was aware of itself. The nature of this being was a kind of impersonal, absolute love that was physically unbearable to experience. It was absolutely overwhelming. I knew in that moment that there was no such thing as death. It became apparent that no matter which point in space I would ever be at, I would always be in the same place. And I also knew then that if I pursued what was revealing itself to me, if I pursued this event, that I would have nothing to fear. So that was the beginning, and then I was 16, and I didn't know what to make of it. And when I was 22, after spending some years wanting to be a musician, this original experience was haunting me, because there was something that had happened that needed to be pursued. So when I was 22, I made up my mind to do anything and everything I could to rediscover what had visited me unexpectedly. And I became a seeker when I was 22, and I did all the things that seekers do. And when I was 27 and a half, I met a teacher in India to whom I described what originally happened to me, and he affirmed the original experience, and that because he was such a powerfully awakened individual, that catalyzed a reawakening, and I became overwhelmed by a powerful by a powerful surge of consciousness and energy, and that was really when the teaching started. At that almost overnight, when I would start describing to people what was happening to me, they mysteriously and miraculously would become absorbed in the same state of consciousness I was. So that was 22 years ago.